Hello and welcome to the Eastern Cape Virtual Classroom. My name is Jordaan and I'm a CAT Subject Advisor. Today we're looking at Lesson 8, which is the second lesson on text functions in Term 2, according to the CAPS document for grade 12s. So this is the CAPS document. You can see we looked at spreadsheet functions. It's plus minus 6 hours that we're spending on it. And these are the ones we're actually looking at. Left, right, mid, concatenate, len, value, and find. We ended the previous lesson with concatenate. Okay, so in the DBE textbook, it's on page number 96. And you can see these are the ones we've covered. I finished with concatenate, but today I want to start off by looking at another way of adding text together instead of using the concatenate. But it's important that you read the paper, your question paper, carefully, because they might stipulate that you have to use the concatenate function, okay, and not the operator that we're going to look at today. So, concatenate and the AND operator. If we look at the concatenate function is not the only way to join two pieces of data. This can be done by making use of the ampersand, the AND operator. For example, if I take a cell and I put AND there, and I put a space in, remember the space is in double quotations, and another cell, these two cells will be combined together with a space between them. So it can be used to join information contained within cell A2 with information in cell B2. Note that we make use of double quotes to add a space between the two pieces of information. And here is an example, and you can see there is the name and the surname, and it now appears in one cell, but there is a space in between because we used double quotations. Okay, so if we're looking at the AND operator, we discussed the concatenate, and the second way is using the AND sign. And here's another example where we've got a long string. We want to add the full name and title. So we want the title, the surname, and the name and the surname. And you can see there's the title, the and of course a space, the and, the name, the and, space, the and the surname. Okay, so you can add many things in a string like that by just putting the and in between. But remember, for any spaces or commas or any words you want to add, they've got to be in double quotations. Okay, shall we do a practical example? I'm going to go to our joining functions. There's the and. Okay, and let's first delete this and then we will do it together. So we're going to start off by saying equals. I'm going to take Mrs., put in and then if I put in the name now, there's going to be no space. Okay, but we want a space. So in quotation, space, quotation, and now I put in the name. And of course, once again, and because every time you want to add something, you must put an and in, another space, and the surname. And now I can see I've selected all three, they're all colored, and I've got the ands in between. And I've got many ands there because I'm adding spaces as well. Okay, and there we go. Easy and very easy method of adding things together in one cell. Okay, let's move on to the next function. In this function, we're looking at len. Okay, the len function allows us to determine the length or the number of characters in a cell. In other words, a text string contained within a cell. So the number of digits, the number of whether they're letters of the alphabet, whether they're numbers, it will add up what is in that cell. The function can also be used to determine the length of numbers, but will not take the formatting into consideration. So this is important. If you look at this 50 Rand, okay, it's formatted as currency. If you have to go and add them up now, you're going to say there are 3 digits, a R, a 5 and a 0. But because it's formatted as 50 Rand, if you use the len, it will only say 2, okay, because it will not see the formatting. It will see that it's 2 digits, but they're formatted as a currency. The len function will not count the R as part of the string. So let's analyze the len quickly. We're starting off with the equal sign to say it's a function. Otherwise, it's just the words len. The function name, and then the cell, which contains the text string that we want to count. Okay, and here is a practical example. There we've got the word Pamela. We are now working out the length of Pamela. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 digits, the length of A1. Okay, there is 13 numbers. If you go count them, you will see there are 13 of them. So that's the length of A2. Okay, practical demonstration. We're going to work out the length. This is activity 5.5. We're going to work out the length of this cell, Amanda Carter. Remember, if we have to now, let's go and look at the practical example. 5.5. And I first want to take out the results, and we're going to look at it again. So I want the length of Amanda Carter, and if I physically have to go and count them, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, spaces 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there are 14 characters. Remember, the space is also a character that a key that you have to press on your keyboard. So it is included. These are the keys that were pressed. So now I go equals len. Okay, and remember that I said especially if it's a long function, you can just double click there and it writes out the function name for you and puts in the first brackets, the opening bracket. Now I want the length of this one, and let's close it, and you will see it's 14. Okay, if I drag it down, there is the length of the different ones. Now something interesting, if I had to put a second space in between, okay, what would happen to the result here? Let's go do that quickly. Instead of having a comma and one space, I'm just going to remember that is what we've got in the middle. It's B2 and A2, and between B2 and A2 we have got a comma and a space. Now I'm going to put in a second space there. Okay, and enter, and you'll see it's now changed to 15. Okay, so we don't always see the spaces, and that makes it very difficult in Excel. I'm going to give you another example. If we look at Annie Logan, if you count them, you will get 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But now somebody goes onto Logan, and after Logan, they press the space bar. Okay, and you don't see it. It's not like Word where you can put the show hide on. But we've pressed the space bar once after Logan, so we've actually put a space in. What happens to this 12 now when I enter? It changes to a 13 because it adds that space after Logan, which you don't see here. Okay, so if ever you use it, you know you've used the right function, but your results don't display the way it should, know that in Excel it might be that there was an additional space included somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Logan, take out the space, enter, and it's back to 12. So that is the len function, counting the len. We're now going to look at the value function. So we've done so far the AND, which combines things like concatenate. Then we also looked at len, which counts the length of the digits, whether it's spaces, letters of the alphabet, or numbers. And then we're going to now move on to the value. So the value function converts a text string into a numerical value, but there's a however here, a but. This is only possible if the text string has the ability to be converted to a number, if it's in a recognized format. For example, you cannot take a word hello. It does not have the ability to be converted to a numerical value, and thus it gives an error message. So if we try and convert a word to a number, we'll get an error message. But 20%, for example, does have the ability. It will give you 0.2. Other examples will be like 100,000 Rand would be converted to 1,000. So In this case, the value will only work if the text string has the ability. You can't take words, letters of the alphabet, and convert them to numbers. Okay, so the value function consists of the following. It will be indicated that you're using a function because it starts with the equal sign. Then the function name, in this case, which is value. And then the text string starts stating that you want to convert it to a numerical value. Okay, so the text string that you want to convert to a numerical value. Sorry, I'm getting confused here. Okay, so if I can recap here quickly, the equal sign showing me it's a function. The word value is the function name, and then the text string that you want to convert to a numerical value. This can be a cell containing text or a numerical text string contained within quotes. So we're going to look at an example of how do we then convert something that's in quotes. So the value gives us the ability to convert a value that represents a number into a number format. Okay, and the text string can be a number, a date, a time value that has been formatted as text. So if we look here, in this case, it's the year, the data formatted as text, the date is formatted as text. How do we know it's formatted as text? Because it's on the left-hand side. Remember, numbers always appear on the right-hand side, but if it's formatted as text, it will be on the left-hand side. Now, in this case, now it's been data now formatted as a number after the function has been copied down. So here we used the value, and we've now converted it to a number. So it was text, and here converted to a number. And now we can use it in a formula because it appears as a number. So we're going to do a practical demonstration now, a guided activity 5.6. We're going to open a blank spreadsheet, and then we're going to type in the following. We're going to type in these, and then we're going to see if we use the value function, what would the end result be in cell B2. So this is A1, and that's A2, and this is B1, B2. Okay, so let's quickly go and look at it. We're also going to then do direct conversions. So this would be the conversion, and then we're going to do direct conversions. And then, I know this is very small, but we're going to do it practically. I just want you to note the following. You should note that the value function is rarely used in Excel. Okay, so it's not often used in Excel and will automatically convert a text string into numerical values as needed. The main function of the value function is to help with Excel's compatibility with other spreadsheets. I've only seen it used, I think, once or twice in question papers where you had to convert it to a value first before you actually could do the function or could do the calculation. Okay, so let's move on to this example, and we do a practical activity 5.6. There we have the number, which we are now going to convert to a numerical value. So I'm starting off with equals value, and let's take the cell and close the brackets, and we enter, and we get 0.2. Okay, so if we drag this down, you'll see that the year has now also been converted to a number. Remember that every day, every date is represented by a number, and that the 1st of January 1900 was seen as day 1. 2nd of January 1900 would be day 2. So therefore, every date has got a numerical value attached to it, and the 3rd of November 2018 was day 43,407. Okay, after the 1st of January 1900. And that's why we get that number. And here you can see that's currency converted. Because it was formatted as currency, it's now converted to a number. So what is a direct conversion? This is when you're not referring to an actual cell, but you're typing out the content in quotation marks, whatever you want to convert. So in this case, equals value, and I've got my open bracket, and now I'm going to convert 20%. So I'm typing it out in quotations. I want to convert 20% to a numerical value. If I enter, I get 2. Now I'm going to do the same with the date. Equals value, and I'm typing out the date, but let's say I forget to put in the double quotations, and let's see what happens. 2018 and 11 and 03, and I now enter, and you'll see that it gives me 61.1515, and it doesn't make sense because the answer should be 43,407. So what has happened here? What has happened is that the forward slash is seen as a division. Remember in Excel, asterisk is multiplication, forward slash is a division. So it's seen this as a calculation and worked out the value of this calculation, and not that it's actually a date. So I'm going to put in the quotations now, and this is why it's important that if you have a direct conversion that you do use quotations. If I now enter, there we go, I've got 43,407. And I could do the same for the rest of them. But something interesting, remember we said you cannot, in this case there are certain restrictions. You cannot convert a word into a number, a numerical value. And let's do an example here. I'm going to write the word welcome here, and let's see what happens. Welcome, welcome. There we go. And if I now look at it, it gives me an error message. Because remember, we cannot convert text into a numerical value. It must be something that is compatible, like a date or a number that can be a currency that can be converted to a numerical value. Same here. If I had to write the word welcome there, it cannot convert that word. It's not the same as len, where you're counting the length. This is a conversion, and it cannot do it. Okay. So that is the value function, not used often, but you must know that you sometimes do need to convert something that's not formatted correctly to a value before you can do a calculation. Then the next one we're going to look at is find. The find function allows a user to locate a specific character or a text string located within another text string. It can help you find a specific letter within a word. The function gives a numerical output that indicates the position of the character or string that you are looking for. It is important to note that this function is case sensitive. So make sure that you know exactly what you are trying to find. So if we look at the three that we've discussed now, we looked at len. Len is not, it's not case sensitive. It doesn't matter whether it's a number, whether it's a letter of the alphabet. It just counts the number of digits, whether it's a space, whatever you've typed in that cell, it counts it. If we look at value, value has got a condition. For value, it's got to be something that can be converted to a number, like a percentage, it's formatted, or if I have currency, it can be converted to a number. So it cannot just be a word, okay, a text like a word, welcome. Now if we go to find, okay, so what is the restriction or the condition here? With find, you must remember that it's case sensitive. Okay, so you're looking for something within a word, and if you say you're looking for a capital letter B, it will find a capital letter B. If you're just saying you're looking for a B and it's lowercase, it will only find lowercase b, so it is case sensitive. Okay, we're now going to look at the find function, the different components of the find function. Firstly, there must be equal sign, otherwise it's just the word find to show that it's a function. This word has now become a function, it's got a specific function. Then we've got the function, so it's the function name, the fact that it's a function, the function name, then the digit that we're looking for. Okay, in this case we're looking for an E, and then the cell that we're looking for. And then we've got a character here, or a number indicating starting on the first digit in A32. And we'll look at a practical example. So what does that one represent a little bit later on? Okay, so you can also search a text string by typing the text string within double quotations. For example, if I am not referring to actual cell, but I'm putting the word in there, okay? and not the cell, but normally we would do cell reference. Okay, it's not good to do this. When we working in Excel, we normally cell reference and we don't type it in, except if it's specific criteria. But in this case, if we're trying to find the A in Jana, okay, the result would actually say it's 2 because it's the second digit. But remember, there are 2 A's. So the second A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the answer is either 2 or 5. Okay, but in this case, I want the second A. So I've now added a 3 there, saying start counting from the third digit. So 1, 2, 3. So from here onwards, ignore the first one, in other words, and then it will give me the output of 5, saying that A is the 5th digit. Okay. The position of the letter A within the string, Jana, the position in the string where the search will start. This is an optional inclusion, okay, so you don't have to put it. If you don't include it there, it will automatically just look for the first one. Okay, the first A that appears, which is number 2. Okay, so if we recap find, this is used to find a specific string of text within a text or a cell. In a cell, for example, it will find the position of a letter or a number of a space in that should be or a space in a cell. Note the text is case sensitive. And here is a practical example. If we're trying to find the V in Queen Victoria, okay, you will see that it's the 7th digit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The space is 6 and the V is the 7th digit. Okay, and then just note here that the V must be in a capital letter. Otherwise, it will not give you a result, okay, because it's case sensitive. It's got to be in the same. Okay, so here's another practical example. We're going to open the spreadsheet 5.7 and we're going to, in B2, this is B2, we're going to start the text function, so equals find, and then we're going to look for the E, and see if there's an E, and add the cell that we're referring to, okay, and then we will explore some here on the side, see if there are E's. So let's quickly go and do it practically. I'll read, you don't have to worry. Okay, so we want to find the E's. I'm going to zoom in. It's very small so that you can see what I'm doing. No wonder. Find. How am I spelling it? Equals find. If I go into that cell, okay, remember it says find text. Okay, so is that going to work? Nope, because it says I must first say within the text. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for the E. Okay, the first E. Okay, now what do I do next? I must put in a comma. Okay, within text. So now I've got to refer to the cell. Okay, and if I'm not putting in start number, then it will automatically look for the first E. Okay, so there we go. And I'm finding an error message. Why? Why would that one? And if we drag it down, okay, another one with the error message. Why is it giving me an error message? So let's go back. What have we left out? We're looking for a letter of the alphabet, but we have not got it in quotations. Would that give us the correct answer? Still an error message, but a different error message. Okay, so value is telling me there is no E in the Amanda. But if I drag it down now, there is an E in Annie. It's the 5th digit. No E in Billy, no E in Eva, but in Joe, it's the 3rd digit. In Josephine, it's the 4th one. And if we look here, Josephine has actually got 2 E's. Okay, so let's go down to Josephine and explore Josephine. I'm going to drag it down to the rest as well. If we look at Josephine, there are 2 E's, but it automatically gives me the first E. Okay, so the find function automatically finds the first E. And remember now, our first mistake was we didn't put it in quotations. Okay, so it finds the first E. So if I want to find the second E, I must not start from the beginning. I must actually start counting from 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's start from 5. Okay, so I'm going to go back there and I'm going to say start counting from the 5th digit. And now it says, okay, that E is the 9th digit. Okay, it ignores the first E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it tells me it was the 9th digit. Okay. And yeah, once again, value error because there is no E, value error because there is no E. Note that that letter must be in quotations that we're looking for. If it's not in quotations, we get another error message, which is name, and it says, okay, because it's the value function will only work if we, or an error message will come up if we put it in quotations, saying that there is no value, there is no E in here. So if we move back here to our PowerPoint, this is activity 5.7 where we've looked at the different. Now, the error messages. So let's quickly just recap. What error messages do we get? If the cell or text string does not contain the string or character that you are looking for, an error message value will be obtained. Remember, there was no E, so we got the message value. You will also notice that it gives the position of the first character or string in the search. Okay, if you are looking for a specific instance of the character, make sure you start the search after the previous instance. So we had to start the search like a little bit later for Josephine, where we're looking for the second E. This can be done by adjusting the position where the find function will start the search, from where they will start the search. Okay, for example, if we are looking for the second time the E occurs in the word Josephine, we need to adjust the starting point where the find function will start. If we start the search from the beginning, okay, and then it will stop when it finds the first E, which is position 4. Therefore, we adjust our function to start on the second, to look for the second E on position 5. And I said, okay, in the cell, look in position from, start finding from position 5. Okay, and now it will find the second E in Josephine. If we look, there is the screenshot of what we were doing. There is the word Josephine, and you can see that this is done by changing the start position of the find function to after the first occurrence of the E. So that's the first one, and that's why we said start from number 5, digit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the P, and then it will find the second E, which is 9. Before we move on, I'm first going to do a bit of revision of all the functions we've done so far, just to make sure that you understand them well. Okay, so I've just done a list here of the different functions we've looked at, and I've got two names here, Amber McDowell with the number 16, let's say that's her age, and Unam Sakasa with the number 15. And you will note that the 16 is left aligned, and that if I click on it, there's like a little error message. If I click there, it will say the number stored as text. And in this case, it's actually a number. There's no message, and it's on the right-hand side. So just plain text, and then a number that's saved as text, and another number that is actually a number. Okay, so if we look at the left function, let's just quickly go through them. It's not going to take long. We're going to start equals left. Okay, and I'm going to take Amber's name, and I'm going to take the first two letters of her name. So that is what the left function does, and the result that you expect is AM. Okay, so we expect to get an AM because we're going to the left hand side, we're taking the first two digits. So there we go. If I now look at the right, okay, so let's take Unam's name, and we take the last two letters on the right hand side of Unam's name, equals right Okay, and I'm double clicking, I'm not writing it out, I'm lazy. Go on to Unam's name, and let's take the last 3 letters on the right, that will be NAM. So if I take 3, there I'm getting num. Okay, the last 3 from the right hand side. So mid would be if I want to take something in the middle of a word. So let's take Sakasa, and I want the K and the A. Okay, so I want to extract just the K and the A from Sakasa. So I'm going to start off equals mid, and then I take Sakasa. Okay, now it's important. What do I want? The text, the start number, and the number of characters. There's your guide. Please note the guide, okay? So firstly, what is the start number? I want to start with the third letter, not the first, not the second, the third letter, the K. And then I want KA, so I want 2 letters. I want the K and the A. Okay, so I'm starting on the third, and I'm taking 2, and I close the brackets, and I expect to get KA. There we go. So what does len do? Len counts the number of digits. So let's count McDowell. Okay, remember that there is a space in between. So if you're actually counting it now, you must know that the space is also a key on the keyboard that you've pressed, and it will be included. So equals len, and I'm taking McDowell, and enter, and there we go. It's 9 characters long. Okay, and if you count them, there will be 8 characters, but including with the space, it will be 9. Look at find. What does find do? Find finds something in a word. For example, if I want to find what in the B for amber, what number is the B? It's the third letter, 1, 2, 3. It's the third letter. So if I say equals find, okay, what do I want to find? Firstly, the text within the text and the start number. So I want to find the B, and we're putting the B in quotations, and we are case sensitive. I want the B and in amber, and if I don't indicate where to start, it will start from the beginning, and it will look for the first B that it finds, and in this case it's number 3 is the B. Remember, if we leave out the quotations, this will happen, an error message. Okay, so we need to put in those quotations. Okay, now we're looking at the value. Now with this one, that is why I've added 16 as a text, formatted as text and not as a number. And we're just going to put 16 there, but this time, and that happens when we copy and paste things, often it copies the number as a text and not as the numerical value that it should be. So I'm going to do a value here, value, and we're taking that one. And if I enter, you'll see it is now on the right hand side, so it's converted that number to actual value. So what does concatenate do? Concatenate, let's just move up. Concatenate is if we want to add things together. So I'm going to take Unam Sakasa, and I'm going to make it, put the name and the surname together. So equals, okay, concatenate, double click there, so I don't have to write it out. And I want to take Unam and comma. And now the next thing I want to add is a space, but it's not a cell reference, so I have to put it in quotations, comma, and then the next cell reference is a surname, and close my brackets, and there we've got Unam Sakasa in one cell. We can do exactly the same by using the AND operator. So equals, I'm going to take Amber, and I'm going to put in a space, and I'm going to take her surname, McDowell. And there we end up, Amber McDowell. And now, upper and lowercase. When you put upper in front of something, it will convert the whole string to uppercase. If you put capital letters, if you put lower in front, it will convert everything to lowercase. So let's see, what can we do? I'm going to just do this quickly, equals upper, and let's take Unam Sakasa, and we're going to make that whole cell B9 capital letters. Okay, and if we want to convert something to lowercase, Amber McDowell, I'm going to go equals lower, and let's go McDowell. There we go. Lower McDowell, and the whole string changes to lowercase numbers. So that is just a quick revision of what we've done up to now. Left, right, mid, len, find, value, concatenate, and the upper and the lower. Okay, so now we're moving into some important work. Combinations of functions. Okay. So one of the most important skills that you will need to acquire when analyzing data is to combine. So we've basically, where we've had things that were in different cells, like the Amanda Carter, we were able to combine things together. Okay, combine two words together. But now you must be able to combine functions, to use various functions in one cell. But as I said, you can use stepping stones. So one of the skills you need in Excel is to combine more than one function into a single formula. And an example is if we analyze the spreadsheet that we have here, and you'll see in this case the name and surnames are in the same cell. Now remember, if I think of access, in access one of the rules are that we should never have a thing like a name and a surname in the same field, because how do you then sort it by surname, for example, or sort by name, or extract something specific when we do queries? So a good thing, for example, would be in your PET to, when you do the form that your people fill in, when you do the research and you do creating the form, the survey, is to actually capture the name and surname as one, and then in Excel you can use these functions to actually extract the name and the surname into different cells, which you will then import into Access, and that will give you quite a bit of marks when it comes to the Excel and the Access and the functions and formulas that you're using there. So if we look at the spreadsheet containing the names and surnames, and on this side we have the student info, we've got the grade and the class, which also isn't good because now it's going to be very difficult to sort them because they're not in specific classes, but it's all in one cell. Okay, so if we look at function combinations, in the spreadsheet, the learner information of each learner is contained within a single cell. You can see there's one single cell with the learner information. We want to use the grade and the class data separately, so we don't want them to be in the same cell. We will separate the grade and the class data into their own, and we know that the grade and class are separated by comma, okay, and a space, so that you can see there's a comma and a space between, and we want to take everything before the comma, okay, so everything before the comma, and move it to a cell called grade, and then everything after the space we want to move to a cell that's called class. Now in order to do this, we will make use of functions like left, right, find, len to be able to do that. Okay, so the practical activity, the practical demonstration, and now this is what we're going to open up activity 5.8, and if you want to do these, they are available as well on the DBE textbook, or just practically go and type out a few things and test whether you would be able to do it yourself, or write out the function if you don't have a computer. Okay, so we've got the student name and the class, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to extract the grade, and then if we go on to the next one, we're going to extract activity 5.9, we're going to extract the class. Okay, so let's see if we can open up that activity, if I have hyperlinked it. 5.9, and I just quickly need to open up. Let's quickly look for 5.9, 5.8 firstly. We're going to hyperlink quickly to 5.8 combinations, and let's open it up. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a bit so that it's easier for you to see what I'm doing. So firstly, we're going to find the grade. Okay. Let's start off. So we're going to find the space. I'm going to start this way. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to find the space or the comma. Let's find the comma in B2. Okay, so I'm doing it step by step now. I'm going to say equals find. And what am I looking for? I want to find the comma, because remember, I want everything on the left-hand side of this. I want to find the comma in B2. Okay, and you can do it like this. You can do it step by step, see if you get the right result. Are you happy? Okay, so it's given me the comma. It said, okay, the comma is the 8th thing. Okay, the 8th thing. And this helps me now because I know that I want everything before the 8th digit. Okay, so I want everything before the 8th digit. So the next step now is that I want everything on the left of the 8th digit. So now I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to add the left function because this gives me the 8th digit. That's my answer, 8. Okay, so now as if I'm going to go to this, this is now the 8th. That gives me 8. So I'm going to put in front of it, I'm going to say, go to the left. Okay, the left-hand side of the cell. Okay, and I want to find the 8, or I want to extract the 8 digits on the left of that cell. And let's see, what do we get? We get grade 12, but including the comma. Because remember, the comma is the 8th item, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I say take everything on the left up to 8, it's going to include the comma. Okay, so take everything before the comma, okay, then it's going to include the comma if I put the 8. So the way to get one less, I actually want one less than 8. Okay, I want one less than 8. And to do that, I'm going to say, remember that find actually gives me the number 8. The find function there, if I can highlight it, actually gives me the number 8. That was the answer to that find. Now, if I take that number 8 and I say, okay, I'm going to minus 1 from it, then it should be 7. Okay, and if I now enter, there we go, I get the grade 12. I'll do one more, just step by step. So I'm going to say equals, I want to find the comma. So firstly, what do I want to find? And therefore I put it in quotations. I want to find the comma. Okay, so what have I done wrong? Yeah, I've got to say in what cell. There we go. I want to find the comma. Now, if I actually don't want to include the comma, I don't want from the left-hand side everything including the comma. So what we've done is we've said minus 1. Then it says 7. Okay, 7 digits appear before the comma because the comma is 8 minus the 1 gives me 7. Okay, and if I now look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's what I actually want. That's going to give me grade 12. Now I'm going to include the left function. And I'm going to say, I want in this cell from the left-hand side to find the following 7 digits. Okay, because remember that gave me the answer 7. I'm going to do it once more. Okay, for those of you who are not able to do it in one cell, you might be using stepping stones, okay, or multiple cells to do it. And I'm going to use these 2 cells that I've highlighted to get to the solution. So you're told to find the grade. Okay, you know that you're going to find the comma first. So you're going to say equals find. What am I going to find? I am going to find the comma, okay, in this cell. Okay, and you're happy that part you can do. Now I say, okay, but I realize I don't want to include the comma, so I'm going to minus 1, and then I've got 7. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the number 7 because I want the first 7 digits. Now I can actually go here and say equals on the left of this cell, comma, find 7. Okay, the 7 digits from the left-hand side. And if I enter, I get grade 12. So in this case, you are referring to another cell in which you've done part of the formula, known as stepping stones, or using multiple cells to get your answer, which would also be accepted. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you do that or whether you just do it all in one cell. So for those of you who find it difficult to do it in one cell, make use of the stepping stones. You can still get full marks if your answer is correct. And please, even if you've done part of it and not the completed the whole function, remember for every part you do, you will get some marks. What we need to do here is now find the class. Okay, so this is a little bit more difficult, but not that difficult. Okay, so what do we know? We want everything on the right hand side. Okay, and in this case we want the actual number we want is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we must do something that gives us the number 7, because we want the 7 from the right. Then we will get class every time. Okay, so I know that I'm actually looking for something that will give me the result 7. So if I take the total and I minus everything in front of class, I should get 7. Okay, the total number of digits minus everything in front of class. So let's go do that. I'm going to go len, because that will give me the length of everything. Okay, let's do one thing at a time and check. There is 16 digits. Okay, so I'm happy. Now I want to minus everything in front of class. So what is in front of class? There is a space. So if I find where the space is, it's going to tell me there were so many digits up to the space. So I'm going to say, okay, now let's minus. Find. Okay, what am I looking for? Remember, use your guide. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the space. Okay. And comma, it is in this cell. And what I'm trying to find is I'm trying to find the number 7. Aha, there we go. So the total length minus everything up to the space, because I found the space, gives me 7. And now it's easy because I want this number from the right hand side. So if I go back into it, I'm now going to say I want the right, and I want of this cell, sorry, and I first have to say on this cell from the right hand side, comma, I want the following. That's 7. Okay, because that represents, this whole thing here represents the number 7. So from the right hand side, 7. Okay, and if I drag it down now, there we go. So I'm going to do one more where I actually break it up in stepping stones so that you can see multiple cells. If you were not able to do it in one cell, how would you be able to use multiple cells? So first thing is, okay, let's see, maybe I'll need to, in this case, make them a different color. Okay, firstly, you know that you need the total length. So you're going to go the length of this cell to figure out what is the total length. The total length is 16. You want to know what is the number of everything before the class. Okay, so I'm going to go equals find the space, because the space is going to tell me in this cell how many digits from the beginning, from the left, is the space. So it says it's 9. 9 digits from the beginning is the space. Okay, so now I can say, okay, I know that 16 minus 9 will give me the total that is left. Okay, so 16 is everything minus the first 9 will give me what is left. Okay, so I can even go on to another cell and say, Okay, now if I take that and I minus this, I'm now actually left with 7. Okay, so 7 is that one minus that one. The total minus everything up to the space gives me a 7. And now I can write my final results here. So, okay, equals, I want everything on the right of this cell. And how many digits on the right? That number of digits. And I close it and I can get the class, etc., etc. So yes, that is breaking it up into stepping stones into the 3 parts where you have the total, work out where do I get to this, the space, and then of course the adding in minusing that from the final answer. Okay, and now I'm going to just drag that one down and we're going to close and go back to our PowerPoint. We have done activity 5.9, and then for homework or your activities that you can do to practice this, activity 5.4 and activity 5.5 will cover the work that we've looked at today. And then of course we have got our references, DBE textbook mainly that I've worked with, and that's it for our second lesson. I hope that you've learned something new and that you understand these text functions better, and we will be looking at some actual exam papers, questions from past papers in the next lessons. Goodbye.